All right. Hey, everyone. For most of you, this will be a recording. That's all good. Oh, that's all good. Is it echoing? Weird. For most of you, this will be a recording. That's no stress at all. But before we get started, what you're going to need is a pen and paper for sure. You're going to need you'll need your numbers all sorted. So from the post before, you will know what those numbers are and what you need. And you also need some idea in your mind of how your accounts work. So whether that's, what types of accounts you've got, where your money comes into, and all that kind of stuff, because a lot of this comes down to account conduct. But once that's all sorted, we can get going. So first thing I want to talk to you guys about is I'm going to run an example situation through here. It's a very common situation most people are in that will have this work pretty well. I have asked someone to use their numbers as an example. I won't name who they are, but it will be very beneficial for you guys to see how this all works. So, where we're going to get started here, just to be really clear in how this works. Okay, I'm going to share the screen with you. So this here is the spreadsheet that I have had working for you. So basically how this works is if you're in a partnership or if you're working this business with someone else, or you're not working with someone else, but you've got combined finances, it's really important that you combine these finances to help the situation, because a lot of you guys will be on this call because you are trying to get out of a debt position that you are finding hard to get out of, or you will be in a situation where you've got a mortgage as a revolving credit facility and don't know where your money's going. You'll be swallowed up by interest rates or something like that. So what's really clear is to get clear on your position. So on the right hand side here, you'll see you want to be getting your debt position really clear. So this is just an example with your interest rates, and it spits out how much interest you're paying per week. Okay, which is really, really important to know. And then also you need to get clear on your income. So most people in the household, you may be single, you may be in a partnership. What you need to be doing is you need to be adding up your income. Now, these are all changeable boxes, so this one automatically populates, but when you get this as a blank spreadsheet, you're going to put your income, your partner's income, and your Isagenix income into here, and then you want to use this for your rent or your mortgage. So if you've got a regular mortgage payment of $250 a week, you just put $250 in there. If you've got a rent payment of $370 like we do, you just put $370 into there. And then through here, because you guys would have itemized every single individual item that you've got on your in your life, whether that be food, petrol, auto ship, power, debt, interest, hire purchases, phone, internet, all those kinds of things, you can go through here and just change these figures. They'll change slightly for you guys to suit your current situation. Now, what a lot of people, and why this is really important, is because what I find a lot of people do is they grab their income, they are either putting it into an account that's got an overdraft in it and living inside their overdraft, or some type of revolving credit facility, whether that be a floating mortgage or something, or they are putting it in there and then just random things are coming out at random times. They've got no idea what's going on, and they're just a reaction to their finances. And with this method that I've developed, this is more a proactive approach to having your finances. But what you'll find is as soon as you decide to take control of your finances, you would have already pre-spent money, as in you will be behind the 8 ball, and it will take a little bit of time to catch up, because all your monthly credit card payments won't be aligned, your interest on your debt won't be aligned, and car insurance won't be aligned. They won't all come out on the same day. So it will take a bit of effort to get the system up and running. But once it's up and running, it works in a way that has everything work. You don't have to worry about anything. It's automated. Everything works for you. So this is why it's really clear to get clear on what you're actually spending. And the clearer you get, the easier this becomes. So firstly, food and petrol. Once you get this, you can put that into there yourself. You'll see this says, oh, that's supposed to say irregular expenses, sorry. Not regular expenses. So these are ones that you have to swipe for. So your not regular expenses are anything you have to use your card for. So let's say, kind of like not regular, but regular. So let's say like food and petrol. Those are kind of the only two ones that Sarah and I have that we actually have to swipe our card for. Okay, so these are really just your swipe transactions. So if you've got anything else in there that you actually need to swipe your card for every single week, it might be, I honestly can't think of any other examples right now, but for the most part, it's food and petrol. Oh yeah, guys, if you've got any questions, chuck them in the chat and I'll answer them as a, you spelled regular wrong. Yeah, I'll edit that. My spelling is not my strong point. Yeah, I did spell regular wrong. Okay, so that's that. So you want to make sure these are only swipe transactions. It's really important you get that. These are only transactions you use your card for. Okay, only transactions you use your card for. Your regular expenses are all those things that, you know, that all your automatic payments, your direct deposits, your insurance payments, your gym memberships, your auto ship, all those things that you don't swipe your card for. You might have to type in your card details. It might be a direct deposit. It might be a manual transaction you have to do every month. It might be something else, right? So you need to get clear on what those are. And then for that, what that'll give you is it'll give you how much you're actually spending per week. Now, don't think for 1 minute that you're going to get the spreadsheet, put in these numbers, you work your accounts the way I work out, or like I've told people to work their accounts that has it work, and then it all be daisy. Because what will happen is you will have to put extra money into it to get a float kind of going, because your expenses won't align with just taking control. Like you'll have, like, let's say you do this next week, you'll have an instant credit card payment of maybe like $200, right? So there will be a bit of work. You'll have to play a bit of catch up. But I promise you, from my experience, people who decide to make a change and then make the change and work on it, they might not see results in their finances for 3 or 4 weeks because they would have pre-spent their money. They wouldn't have accounted for the credit card payment. There would have been something they forgot in their spreadsheet. There would have been something they haven't accounted for. But at the end, once they get past that 4 weeks and there's nothing more they've pre-spent, they've accounted for everything and everything's all kind of going, it works. It 100% works. So, but for the most part, these are just your regular expenses. Now, these have to be itemized, because what some of you will find is you're not earning enough money, right? And you will have to make reductions in certain areas. So it's really important that you know what you're spending on what, and then working a bit of redundancy in there. I know, like, sometimes Sarah and I spend a bit more on fuel because we're moving up and down the country a bit more. Sometimes we go skiing a little bit, and, you know, we've paid for, you know, a bit of extra fuel there, or food on the mountain or something like that. So you've got to build a bit of redundancy into it. But for the most part, have this be a bare minimum, okay? Because obviously the goal here, I'm guessing for most of you, will be reduce this debt position, right? So you're starting to work into the positives. So if that's your goal, then you want to be spending at least as less as possible. Okay, and then what this spreadsheet will spit out is your income, how much your expenses are, including your mortgage / rent, your regular expenses, your irregular expenses, and it'll give you a free cash flow number. So this is, if you are not saving any money each week, or you're struggling to pay for things, this is how big the hole is at the bottom of your bucket, right? And for Sarah and I, when we first did this activity, we had like a $500 to $600 hole in the bottom of the bucket, that just cash that we just had no idea where it was going. It was like the pair of socks you put in the washing that only comes back, and, you know, only one comes back. It was like really eye-opening to see. And not only was there a $500 hole in the bottom of the bucket, but we were spending more than that, right? So it was really eye-opening to see, like, this is not by any means like the fact that we're not earning enough money. It's the fact that we just have got no idea where it's going. And what it came down to for us was the fact that our account conduct and how we were working our accounts wasn't allowing us to really track it at all. it was like a free-for-all, like money comes into this pool and you just kind of pull it out as it goes. And if there's money left at the end of the week, cool, spend more. If there's not, then use a credit card. That was kind of our mentality. And that's what got us into the situation. But when we started using our accounts in our favor, this really started to work for us. So just for anyone on the call right now, are there any questions so far? Because I know this can be a bit, any random questions so far? No? Okay, perfect. Up to now, it's pretty basic budgeting, but once I clear the spreadsheet, I can put it into the group for you. You'll be able to plug these numbers in for yourself, and I've left empty spaces here for you guys to go and add things and change things and all that kind of stuff. And there's also spaces here, but for the most part, that'll be F45/gym. It'll be, for the most part, everyone's basically got the same expenses. It's just, at what level they are for each person. Some of you have kids. Now, one thing to really think about is building a little bit of redundancy into here. So, for everyone, we've all got an auto ship, or we're all saving for our products. We might have kids that we need to put a little bit of money away for because they have unexpected camps and all that kind of stuff. We all have events that we should be attending in Isagenix, right? What would it be like to put $50 a week away for events and never have to worry about, attending, because that your flights and your accommodation are all accounted for, right? So this spreadsheet's got complete freedom. It just tells you whatever you want it to tell you. Now, it's really important that you know these numbers so that this spreadsheet works. If this spreadsheet isn't working and the system isn't working, it's because you don't know your numbers. That's the only way this doesn't work, and you're not working your accounts the right way. So, yes. Gifts, presents, I budget 50 a month. Yeah, perfect. So, that's cool. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is account conduct, because I think account conduct is most people's leaky bucket. Spotlight video. Yeah, is most people's leaky bucket, right? Because most people have I'm going to bring my whiteboard out here. Most people have an account, right? And I would say a lot of people, this account is overdrawn, right? It's got negative $1,000 into it, and then your money comes in, and then it goes out, and you've got no idea why it's doing that, right? So we don't want this. So there's a few real important things and ground rules that if you're going to take control of your finances, you need to follow so that this works. Now, if you guys are in a relationship, I would recommend to make this simple. All cash goes into the same account if that's possible. It just makes it so much easier and way less hassle, because it just does. Just trust me on this. Now, rule number one is this account, right? Whatever account your money is going to come into, your income has to come into, has to start at zero. So if you need to open a new account, 100% go and do it. There is no good mindset that comes from living inside an overdraft, right? There's no good mindset of like using your mortgage as a revolving credit facility for your life. There's nothing good that will come from that. So this income, wherever your money is coming in, right? This is going to be all backwards, but wherever your money is coming in has to start at zero. Whenever you decide to work the system, it has to start at zero. Okay. Now, for a lot of you, this will be calling the bank or going on your app these days and just opening a new account, and then getting your employer or Isagenix or whatever to pay you into a nothing account. Okay, I'd say 95% of people who watch this will be living inside an overdraft or some type of credit facility or whatever. Things I've done to make sure that this has happened is I've changed banks, right? Completely changed banks so that I see a clean slate every single week. It's just really good for the mentality. Other things, I've just opened more bank accounts. I've hidden the debt. I've done whatever. You just have to, for the mindset purposes, it's really important that you get paid into a nothing account. Now, the second account you're going to open, right, is going to be an expenses account, right? This is going to be your expenses account. Now, here's the crucial thing, right? This is going to stop the spending, right? This first, where your income comes into, is the only account that there's a card attached. This account is the only account that has a card attached, okay? This account has no cards attached, nothing. Not on your savings, not on the credit button. There's no cards attached to that expenses account, okay? So this has to be also at zero when you start. If you have extra money in there, no stress. Like if you've got a bit of like $200 or $100, that'll help. It'll help the float. But for the most part, it has to be at zero or positive numbers. This can be at positive numbers as well, but I recommend just starting at zero. Right, and the last account you're going to have is a savings account. And this also is at zero and no card attached. No card attached. The only card that you should have is checking savings on this account. Okay, that will be the, now how this works, right, is, and it's real simple, but will take a bit of work to get going. Your income comes into this account. Let's say on that example, let's just for say easy purposes, it's $1,000 a week, right? Actually, no, let's use the example we've got here. Oh, actually, you guys can't see it, and I can't screenshot it and do it. Anyway, let's say the income comes into this account now. All income comes into this account, right? So whether that is your Isagenix income, your partner's income, everything comes into this account. So this, in this example, it's $1,600 comes into this account every single week. Okay. Now, what you have to do now is transfer 410, which are your regular expenses, just to transfer $410, right? $410 needs to go into this expenses account every single week. Now, out of this expenses account, this is going to take a bit of work. All your direct deposits, all your APs, all your auto ships. I will talk about auto ship soon. AUTO ship. These are all going to come out of this account, right? So this is everything. This is your gym membership. This is your internet. This is your car insurance, your health insurance, any subscriptions. These are all going to go, and you're going to have to call up all these people, all these companies, and put them off this account here. So this might be a 00 account, and this might be a 01 account, or however your bank works it. But this is where all your automatic payments are going to come out of. Now, this account's going to float. It's going to go up and down, right? Up and down like the tide. Every Monday or whenever you guys get paid, it's going to go up. And then the next day or whenever your automatic payments go out, it's going to go down. But for the majority, it'll stay climbing higher because it'll gain all the money for the auto ship, right? Now, for things that are not regular, like your auto ship, all you would do is figure out, okay, my auto ship's $400 this month. I've got, $600 sitting in this account, and I'm going to transfer 400 back to this account to then use my card to transfer it out. It makes the spending conscious, so you're not unconsciously just swiping your card and hoping there's going to be enough money at the end of the week. Okay, and then if you guys are in no debt, or once you're out of debt, then we have a savings account, right? So you'll be able to use this account for savings. Now, if your goal is to get out of debt as quickly as possible, firstly, thumbs up if that makes sense so far, just to everyone. Perfect. Now, I guarantee you there's not many people's finances work this way, as in it's not as thoughtful as this, because what Sarah and I used to do is income would come in here, we'd put our GST aside. If you guys are GST registered, have a GST account as well. We'll put our GST aside if we did. and then we just spend. And then you look at it on Saturday and go, oh, heck, there's $300 left in there. And then on Monday, you're like, oh, it's our auto ship. And then we'd be like, where's that going to come from? And now we need fuel. And now all these regular payments are coming out that we've got no idea when they're due. So now we're screwed. And instead of having all the automatic payments already looked after, never having to worry about them, and then leaving in this account just the food and the petrol money. So in this example, you would leave $210 in this account for food and petrol, because it's the only things you have to swipe for, right? If it's if you've got to pay for parking, for example, you would leave your parking money in there as well. If you have to pay for the bus or the train or get a train ticket or something, you'd leave your transport money in there too. Anything you got to use your card for that's an expense, you leave in that account. Rest of it goes into this account. And this is your freedom of mind account. That means you never have to think about a bill. You never have to think, hey, have I got enough money for insurance? You never have to worry about your auto ship. You never have to worry about coming to the next event. You never have to worry about anything, because it's all built in here. It's all accounted for. Right? Everything's accounted for. Now, just checking my notes here. Right, so there's two ways you can get out of it. You can obviously just whatever. No, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna share my screen now. So with that example, we had $700 or nearly $800 left over at the end of the week, right? So this was a very, very close to home example. Now, what you can do with this money, now this is totally up to you, and I'm gonna just say what Sarah and I did is we pushed that onto any debt facility we possibly could. So what we would do is we would, every Monday when our income came in, we would pay the rent manually. We would leave $210 in our spending account, our swipe account. We would transfer $410 into our expenses account, so that was all what looked after. And then whatever was left over, we would put on one of these. Okay, that's all. We would just put it on one of these. And very quickly, these went down. Very, very quickly. And we did it with such ease. It was like, we're not even thinking about it. It was like this automated system that was just working for us. Okay, because the only bit of work you have to do is, one, set your accounts up like this, which you only have to do once, and two, move all your automatic payments into an account that's your expenses account. That's all you've got to do. After that, it just looks after itself. Now, little things that trip people up. Some people get paid weekly, some people get paid monthly, right? Some people get paid fortnightly. So if you get paid fortnightly or monthly in this spreadsheet, just divide your income by 2 or 4 respectively, and then move half of it, right? Move the portion that you're not using for the week. Live week to week, move that portion somewhere else, and then transfer the other half or another quarter back to yourself every week on a Monday or a Tuesday, whatever day you want to do it, okay? Because if you can't live weekly, you definitely can't live fortnightly, and you can't live monthly. You need to learn to live week by week so that it starts making sense. Yeah, so people who are in partnerships, honestly, it makes it so much easier if you just pool your money. It's like divide and conquer. You just get together, put all your cash into one account, and then just demolish the debt. And we're only talking bad debt here. We're not talking mortgages. We're talking we're talking short-term credits, overdrafts, payday loans, mum and dad, all that kind of stuff. So just get it all pulled into one account. It takes a call and a few pushes of a button to move your income to be paid into another account. Make sure that account is at 0. Okay, please make sure that account's put at 0. Don't put it inside an overdraft. Oh my gosh, don't do that. And then one person every single week transfers the money whenever everything comes in. So Sarah and I all get paid on a Monday. For example, Rach and Isaac, Isaac pays on a Tuesday, Rach gets paid on a Wednesday, or Isaac gets paid on a Wednesday. So, they do everything on a Wednesday night. So just work it in with your lifestyle, but you've got to make sure that those rules are followed. Only one account has a card attached to it. Okay. if it's, if people got to pay for lunches, put a bit of lunch money in there. The expenses account has got no card attached to it. It starts at 0 and you can't touch it unless it's an expense, right? Now, unless it's been accounted for. Build some redundancy into there. And I'm just checking my notes here. Yeah, and if you're being paid in a weekly or a fortnightly or a monthly what am I trying to say, schedule, create another account. So if you're getting paid fortnightly or monthly, when your income comes in, right, I'll stop my share here. When your income comes in, divided by 2 or 4, and then have a separate, it could be the savings account, it could be something, but have a separate account that you put either a half or 3/4 of your income into, and then move the other half back on the Monday, or move another quarter back on the Monday, or whenever you want to move but it's like paying yourself, right? Be strict on that, because it's real easy to just not do that, think you've got this all sorted, and then it just won't work. You have to make sure you pay it back, and so you can live week by week by week by week. Now, what's the purpose of this, right? So when everyone else is reacting to their auto ship, when everyone else is reacting to their their expenses coming out, you'll be sitting there going, they're all taken care of, they're on one account and I've accounted for them. Now, there'll be a few situations that come out here. Some of you won't be earning enough money. Okay, some of you, if you really pulled all your expenses and put them to the side each week, you pulled all your bills and put them to the side each week, and you really stuck to this, you might not be earning enough money. And there's, and we're all in a vehicle here where we can earn more money, and that's ISA. So obviously, having ISA pay you more will increase the cash flow, therefore you'll have more free cash flow at the bottom of that spreadsheet for this to work. Okay. Some people will have a massive hole in the bottom of their bucket where they're like, I don't know, it's pissing out $200 a week. I've got no idea where it's going. Okay. Some people, that hole will be a heck of a lot bigger. Sarah and I with $500 to $600. Some of you will be using some type of revolving credit facility like your mortgage, and it's just slowly going backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards and backwards, and have zero idea how that's even happening, and no idea how to stop that. Some of you will have a system similar but haven't updated it in a couple of months, years, decades. And some of you would just never have seen anything like this. You get paid into this account, it goes out, and you've never got enough money at the end of the week. So those are the situations, and there's always a solution for this inside of it. So if you're earning more money, and you've got zero debt, well, then this number in your savings account should be going up. So there's still another hole in the bottom of your bucket. But the only thing that will trip you up in this is being lazy and not setting your accounts up like this, not calling the bank, not moving your income, not moving your direct deposits, automatic payments. The other thing that will trip people up is not being prepared that these expenses, when you first start, are not going to cover them straight away, because you'll put $410 in here and you might have this in the same week your auto ship go out. So when you first start, you've got to be committed to getting this floating at least like an extra $200, or if you've got quite a lot of expenses, $300 to $400, right? You've got to get a float going on in there so that you can, every week add that money into it, and you've always got money going in. That's the only thing, because what I found after talking to a few friends is they pre-spent their income. Like I had some friends who they were banking on their tax return so that they could pay for something, right? So they were spending the money before it even comes into their account, instead of being ahead of their finances and having that tax refund be extra cash in their account. It was already spent. Right? So that's what you don't want to do. You don't ever, because that's you're living a reactive lifestyle. That's like anxiety to the max. You want to be so proactive that you're just like, when someone calls you for dinner and it's like, oh, do you want to come for dinner? You don't have to think about it. You're just like, yeah, for sure. I've worked some fun money into here. You can work whatever you want to into that spreadsheet, but I guarantee if you're trying to pay off debt, I would get it paid off either regular payments and try to get it consolidated. So you could either consolidate it on your mortgage, you can consolidate it with someone else, you could try and consolidate it, or I would pay it off. If it's not that much, just pay it off every single week, a regular payment every single week, never touch it again, but a regular payment every single week for a year or something, just work it out and then save the rest of it. Either way. But for most of you, you'll want to attack that debt pretty quickly. So that is the only way the system trips up, is people who pre-spend and have pre-spent a month, 2 months ahead of themselves, like, like I need a dress for the gala, or I need this for this, and I need this for this, and there's not even enough money to think about buying coffee, let alone a dress for the gala, right? Or people who don't understand that as soon as you put $400 in here and your auto ship goes out, there's not going to be much money left in there. And they think, oh, well, the system's screwed. Well, it's not. You just don't have a float. So those are the only two ways that that'll trip you up. And from people who work it and it works really well, like I know Alex uses it. I know it got us out of a lot of debt. I know it's worked for Rachel and Isaac massively. Bridie and Bryce as well, they've used it, it got them out of debt as well. It's just changed everything. So I would 100% work it to your advantage. Now, you can work anything into that spreadsheet. You could work the fact that you buy a new set of headphones every 2 weeks and put $25 away for Apple headphones because they're so overpriced. You could put, a new handbag in there every single month. You can work whatever you want to, but if your goal is to get out of debt and your goal is to put money in the savings, then I would recommend choosing how you're going to do that. Are you going to do that really quickly? You're going to do that half pace? You're going to do that really slow? Just choose that and then choose what you're going to do. Yeah, seasons passes, exactly. You could work in a seasons pass. You could go, okay, well, a season pass is $1,000. I'm going to put away, $10 a week. You can put away whatever you want to, right? But the thing is that you're putting it away and you're not touching it for anything other than what it's been put away for, right? So a few questions. Could you set the line your revolving mortgage, say if you had $1,000 in it, pretend if it's not there? I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend trying and getting into the thing about like revolving mortgages or any type of negative money in an account is you can't see yourself moving forward. You're never seeing positive numbers. Never. It's like I used to live in an overdraft of $2,000, so I got paid $1,500. So I never ever lived above negative $500. Never. Right. And it's not good for the mentality. It's not good. So as soon as, when I met Sarah, it was exactly the same. Like she was living inside an overdraft and I was living inside mine. And it was like, well, how are we ever going to move forward here? It's just the mentality of logging in and seeing that. So how I would recommend doing it is trying, because if you have to live inside your revolving mortgage, you're not earning enough money. It's like a backup, right? You're not ahead of the game. Right. So if you're having to live inside of that, then there's not enough income coming in. So you need to get clear on how much more income you need coming in so that you don't have to live inside of that. Right. So how I would recommend doing it is exactly I've said, get a Xero account, just get a Go account, or if you're with ANZ Go or Freedom account or whatever it is, start it up and move all your income into there. Right. Leave your mortgage alone, set it aside, treat it like a big overdraft. Right. And then pay the interest required on the mortgage every single month or week or whatever, put that aside so your interest payment is sitting there, and then work on the positives. Start putting money away, because I'm not going to get into like how I see home loans because that's a whole nother call in itself, but just pay the interest on the home loan. Just pay the interest, use the bank's money for yourself, and just get yourself moving with savings, because you'll never be able to save inside a mortgage. Never. You'll just put money away into the mortgage and then you'll spend it again and you're back to where you started. So you never actually see positive numbers ever. So you need to really like get yourself out of that in some way, shape or form. And the only way to do it, you can change banks if you really wanted to. and just leave your mortgage with whatever bank they're with. You could up and move everything. Like I've done it. I met Sarah. I had my ANZ overdraft. I was like, I'm not really tied to ANZ. They're a cool bank and all, but I just changed to ASB and moved all my income into ASB, and then paid my overdraft off every single week. Just put money aside for it. All I saw was positive numbers from then. But then ASB gave me an overdraft, and that was another story. So, so just I wouldn't do it inside a revolving mortgage. I would not pretend anything. I would see money and I would see it for what it is, because it is what it is and it isn't what it isn't. Where does it say budgeted but infrequent expenses go? Gotcha. So a revolving credit could become our savings account. I wouldn't save inside a revolving mortgage either. I would just use whatever the interest rate, whatever I'm guessing if you've got a revolving mortgage, you're on a floating interest rate. I would just pay the interest. Pay the interest and don't sink $1 into your mortgage that you don't have to. Reason being is that's a whole nother call. I'm not going to say what to do with your mortgage, but I would say just for the most part, if you're wanting to increase cash flow and to reduce your debt position on credit cards or short-term overdrafts or whatever, I would just be paying the interest on the mortgage, keep the bank happy, and then be using your free cash flow to pay off those credit cards or whatever you're trying to do. If your goal is to pay off your mortgage, then sink all your money into your mortgage, happy days. But for the most part, I'm guessing there'll be other debt in other places that you could be paying off with that free cash flow. So that's what I would be doing. Coffee, hubby, snacks, found my budget spreadsheet dated 2016. Yeah, I pre-spent. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So if you're pre-spending, there's one or two things have happened, because the only way you get behind the eight ball is you've spent more money than you've actually come into contact with. So you've had to, you can't have actually had that money in your account to go ahead and buy that thing that you want to buy. So you're like, oh, I'll buy that next week when I get paid again. So that's where you've got to not do that. So I would just get ahead of it and work in some redundancy in this in case you get one of those, blown tires or something like that. Pay down the mortgage so you can reno. Yeah, another story. If you want to pay down the mortgage so you can reno, totally different story. Obviously, that's a conversation with your bank to see, what your estimated revaluation will be on the property, to see what you can actually borrow to reno the house. But yeah, that's totally up to you. So yeah, that's it, guys. Honestly, that is as simple as it gets. It's literally a bit of account conduct, a bit of like getting clear on where your income is actually going, a bit of moving some automatic payments and direct debits around, and it'll take a month or so, because some people won't see those direct debits for a month, or those automatic payments for 2 weeks or so. It'll be giving yourself some grace to understand that you would have pre-spent some money that you haven't accounted for yet. So it might take you a month or 2 months to get this up and running. And it'll be sticking to it as hard as you possibly can, because the harder you can stick to it, the easier it's going to be in the long run. And it will take a bit of time. So that is my advice to you guys. If you guys have any questions, just open your line and we can answer them now. Most companies like happy for weekly payments. Yeah, exactly. And try and do them weekly. Honestly, if you've got automatic payments and stuff like that, try do them weekly if you can. If not, just do them fortnightly. But we try to do everything weekly. So there's not massive lump sums coming out. I like to see things week by week. So yeah, if you can do them weekly, do them weekly. But it's all about the structure and all about remembering what you've actually spent. So one way to do it is just print out your statement and go through and highlight all the different categories. So, your auto ship, your power, your interest, your hire purchases. Oh, that's the other thing to talk about. If you've got minimum repayments on credit cards or overdrafts, those also work those into those regular expenses so that you can just draw them out and put them into the credit card payments or the overdrafts or whatever interest rates you're being charged, which I'm guessing are extortionate. So just put them into those places. So I know I worked with a couple. They had quite expensive because they had to send money overseas as well. So it's really, if you were to work that all in as well, if you're sending money overseas, you can put that into the spreadsheet as well, because it's just another expense. Now, if you're not earning enough money, obviously we've got ISA. If you're earning money and you've got a massive hole in the bottom of the bucket, it doesn't matter how much money you earn, you always have that hole in the bucket. So fix it now, save money, and you'll be in the green later on. So I hope that's helped for you guys. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to get the spreadsheet with a few instructions on it, so you guys know what to do. And then if you need to reach out to me, just reach out. I'll upload this to you guys as soon as I possibly can. I just need to fix my spelling. And I'll leave this example in here so you guys can go and change it. Obviously, if you're not working with a partner and it's just you, just put the other income to 0. If your average ISA income is less than $100, maybe leave that at 0. And just once you get your account sorted, it'll be so much easier for you, And I can only speak from experience. Sarah and I worked on this for a month or 2, but we managed to clear quite a bit of debt quite quickly. So, so I hope that helps. We'll catch you guys another time.